Okay.
All right.
Hello and welcome back to
The room that we created.
It is October 22nd, 2024.
And we're back in the room.
And we are creating. It has been
Well
way
over a
too
year.
long. It's been a bit over a year. And we're just gonna be dropping this just by surprise.
It feels like no time's passed at all.
I know,
like,
now
it
that we're in the
doesn't feel
room,
like
it's
any
kind of
time has
creeping me
passed.
out. But
Like-
we are many haircuts and beard cuts and pube cuts and foreskin cuts later, and we are here. We sadly will not be creating that many more experiences in this room.
It's true.
I am moving to Seattle, Washington. Announcement for all that don't know. But that does not mean that the room that we created is necessarily over.
No.
Of course, the podcast can be done in any room, and if you've ever been to Seattle, you know how cozy it is. So, but yeah, that's the hard launch. If I haven't told you already, I just got back from Seattle, and we are in the throes currently of Monktober.
Oh my God. So this has been one of the most challenging periods of my entire life, I think.
And also the most fruitful and growth. I've experienced so much growth in these last 3 weeks. We have a week to go.
Good.
So, is it all right if I explain a little bit of the Monktober
Please.
lore and you can jump in?
Please.
Okay. So, Matti came to me about 2 months ago, and was talking about NoFap. Right, so that's where this kind of all started. So Matti comes to me, and she's on the NoFap grind, and I've been on NoFap before, and I've heard about NoFap, and I've been down this rabbit hole, and so we start conversing about.
Is this an incest?
Is that an It's the end of an incense. I have some over here. I can put one on the burner.
Yeah, let's do that shit.
All right. So
Let's put that. Yeah, it's Monktober. We're gonna light.
it's
an
Monktober.
incense.
We're gonna light an incense.
We're gonna make
real
it-
quick. If you wanna snag one of these out.
Oh, yeah.
The burner.
Yeah.
So.
Anti-stress.
Matti comes to me a couple of months ago, starts talking about NoFap, and we kind of were like, okay, let's not necessarily go like full tilt and stop playing with our worm completely, but let's stop watching pornography, because I think that is poisonous to the brain and the spirit and the motivation and work and pretty much everything. It's poisonous. That's my belief. It definitely is for me. For us, if I may be so bold.
Oh yeah, I hate porn.
And so,
I hate weed.
so, we decided to make a bet like Seinfeld, and we do the contest, and we went back and forth paying each other several times, and eventually we just broke even. But
I forgot that's how it started. Is that
we were paying
we were doing
$20, then $30, then $40, and it just.
But it ended up just being us sending basically money back and forth the same amount of money.
Yeah, and then we would just end up getting like Apple Pays and we would just know what it was. We would just get Apple Pay $30.
Yeah, you'd just be going out your day grinding, sweating, trying not to jerk off, and stressed out as hell.
And you'll get,
and then you'll just get an Apple Pay of $30.
And then
like,
that
"You
night,
failed."
after you get the Apple Pay, you're like, well, now it's not going to cost me any money.
Yeah.
So
So basically, he paid you to jerk off.
Yeah, and so at that point, I started feeling the guilt coming back in after failing NoFap probably 3 or 4 times, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's do everything and anything we want for the rest of September. And then we go full tilt in October. And so the rules officially were, I mean, we each had our own little variations, but it was no masturbation, like complete celibacy, no alcohol, no sugar, no processed food, no fast food. I did no gluten, which I'd done for a while before. I did break no gluten in Seattle.
Yeah, my dietary
But I made it
restrictions were
3
much less
weeks.
as well.
I made
Because
it
I quit
3 weeks.
cigarettes too.
And Matti quit cigarettes. Were there any other rules besides that? Oh, no social media.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
social media the whole month. You get 1 hour of long form content a day. So that was like YouTube or either a TV show.
Yeah,
I
right.
just pretty much been doing TV shows. Unlimited bacon, but no games, and unlimited bacon, but unlimited games.
Mm. So the hardest part for me is the routine around so many of the things I gave up. Because it's like you go home and you want to immediately smoke a cigarette, especially after work. It's like after work smoking. I realized how much I really was smoking on a daily basis at the beginning of Monktober.
Yeah.
It made it a little bit easier going into Monktober because I got really sick right before, so I already wasn't smoking
You were
for
like
a
2
week.
weeks.
Yeah.
I kind of went the celibacy route like a week before
Yeah.
to make it easier.
It is so fucking hard. Like, I don't have a cigarette. What's a healthy way I need to relieve stress?
So I found that I had to create a new routine for myself, and it has liberated me. What's your routine now? What's your new Monktober routine? Do you have one?
I will, on my days that I work in mornings. So I pretty much get up, brush my teeth, get dressed, go to work. My morning work days are only 3 days out of the week. I have a second job where I make my own hours and stuff like that. But so on work days, not at my second job, but Merkin days. Those days are for Maynard. You know, they belong to Maynard. They're not I don't do as much of my own routine because those are Maynard's days.
Gotcha.
No, but I wake up on work days. I'll wake up, I'll brush my teeth, I'll pray, and I will listen to stand-up comedy as I'm setting up the bar.
Oh, that's
because it gets me so in the mood of work. Because while I set up the bar, it takes me about an hour, so I get to work an hour before the doors open, and setting up the bar, and I'll listen to stand-up comedy. Because it's just like, it gets me laughing. It starts the day with laughter, and then it gets me able to talk to people. And then I'll go home. If I'm tired, I didn't sleep well, I'll do some NSDR from Andrew Huberman.
Yes, okay, that's part of my routine. We'll get there, but I got Matti deep into. That's kind of like what really went the full take.
I hate it. Like, I hate how much it really, really works.
Right, like
You know?
part of the reason we got into Monktober is because I got into Andrew Huberman, and I started showing
so
Matti Andrew
stupid.
Huberman.
Like, it's so I don't want to believe that any of the gurus are
But he's a
neuroscientist.
neuroscientist.
But he's a fucking neuroscientist. He's dope. I love him.
So
The supplement shit, I'm like,
I don't really
I stay
take-
with. Yeah.
I take zinc. Well, I got into Andrew Huberman because of my potential autoimmune diseases. My health is doing much better now. That reminds me, I haven't actually spoken about my health, and part of the reason we really stopped in the first place, and then not doing the podcast became a habit for a year.
Right.
We originally stopped because I was having health problems. And we have filmed, I think, 2 or 3 podcasts in the tank that are not out and will never come out. And
Really?
in those, I talked about my health issues.
Oh yeah.
And I'd like to rewatch them actually.
Yeah, that would be fucking
But
fun.
anyways,
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
It's been a long year.
I'm doing better. It's been a long 2 years for me. But my routine is pretty strict, and it's been pretty dope. I get up at 7, and the first thing, so I fast, right? So that's the big thing. I only eat from the hours of 11 to 8, right? So it's like a 15-ish hour fast, usually 15 hours around there.
Wait, I didn't tell you what I do on my off days.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because those are just the Maynard days.
Continue. I thought so. Your routine differs by day.
Yeah,
Okay,
because my work
mine's the
days
same
I
every
can't
day.
I can't do the whole thing in the morning because
Okay.
I don't have enough time
Yep.
between wake and going to work.
Okay.
Because
Put a pin in mine. We'll go back to Matty's right now.
yeah, so I'll wake up, I'll do the work, I'll do the come home. If I didn't sleep well, I'll fucking do the NSDR, which is non-sleep deep rest, which is very similar to yoga nidra, which is like an old yogic practice of it's not non-sleep deep rest. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's cool though. It's a script. But anyway, and then I'll fucking on my days off where I actually have the whole morning, wake up, 10 minutes of sunlight, at minimum. I'll go outside and I'll sit.
You do 10, yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit in
Nice.
in the sun with my shirt off, praying
Yeah.
for as long as I want. Prayers just from the heart, and then there's an hour of my day devoted to faith-based stuff.
What time do you get up?
9.
Yeah, that's usually when.
Because I don't go to bed at like fucking. I go to bed at like 3 in the morning almost every.
Yeah, I
it's
go to
terrible.
bed at like 10 now. I'm
Yeah.
old.
Even in like even when I am sleeping well, it starts late.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I just am nocturnal. Like I'm not nocturnal, but like I don't know. I always push my day longer, so I'll get up at 9 and I'll go to bed at the earliest 1:00 in the morning. You know, but yeah, I'll drink some green tea and I'll be praying, and then I'll an hour a day I'll dedicate to faith, which for me is Bible study, which we'll get into some more of that later. What has happened to me in the last year, but yeah.
Oh my god, that's right.
I know.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah, and different, and there's context to that. That's a lot more. It will make much more sense.
Do you want to just spill the beans? I feel like it'd make much
It's not.
more
It's
sense.
not as much of beans as it is because it's evolved even so much
It's a
since
soup.
it began. You know.
Well, they're in the dark, so
They're in the complete dark. Well, I started attending a synagogue
yeah.
every week. Well, no. We'll put a pin in that. I'll get through the
There's
routine.
gonna be a lot of pins this
Yeah,
episode.
I want to
people.
hear your routine. But yeah, so that's my morning. I'll do an hour of my faith-based stuff, and then I'll exercise a little bit, and then I do whatever the fuck I need to do in that day, and then I close my day with a walk. I'm listening to some music, and I will pray at night again. So I'm trying to pray at least 3 times a day.
Yeah.
At like, you know, and it's all different stuff. In the morning, I'm usually like, oh my God, get me up out of this bed and like just prepare me and this and that. In the midday, it's usually gratitude stuff, you know, and reflection. And then at night, it's usually repentance, you know. There's so much I'm trying to work on, and I've developed a much more healthy outlook and mindset when it comes to like repentance type stuff. Like I don't believe in an angry God. That, you know what I mean? It's more repentance in the terms
Repentance is
of
still like walking in the path.
yeah, just realigning.
It's just correcting yourself.
Every fucking day we stray
Being
a little
conscious,
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think your reciprocity with divinity at the end of it, and you go to sleep on that. That's good.
That's yeah.
You know, because I end my day, it was just like, help me be better. And then, because then you're right after that, you're entering into a deep state of repair.
So what has been the hardest thing about your routine, and what has been the most rewarding?
The most rewarding is prayer.
What do you find rewarding about it? Like how has it helped you, and you know, what has it made you different than you were a month ago?
It's made me much more like vulnerable when it comes to like connecting. Like it's made me more vulnerable.
Okay.
It's breaking down the like rigidity, like I'm a rusty kind of machine when it comes to my connections and my ego and all that stuff, and it's made me softer.
Because the prayer takes some level of self-awareness, you think, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you get in
it
touch
takes
with
you,
yourself.
Yeah, everything goes away.
Okay.
Like I don't know. It just like it's more like there's a scripture that says like you've taken away my heart of stone and given me a heart of flesh. And that's what I feel like when I pray is like all this bullshit that I'm protecting myself from and that keeps me from loving like more fully. It goes away in prayer. And also like it feels good to let go of identity, you know, to be like I am who I am in God, you know, like in that like I don't need to perform at all in any capacity when I'm praying. It's just like because even the thoughts I'm having that I'm not even aware I'm having because they're in my deep subconscious are already known. Like your whole naked being is before God when you're praying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like
yeah, and it's not just
it's not like what should I say? It's like God knows what you're gonna say.
It's also not just some like, oh God, please, okay, I'm gonna pray to God. It's like there's something to be said for the routine of like getting on your knees if you can, opening the window and like praying.
Yeah.
You know, something to be said, like not just some like, oh fuck, I pray that I get more money. You know.
Oh yeah, no, it's not even like take. That's what I mean by the vulnerability.
Yeah, you
It's
have to humble yourself.
yeah, it's
In
like
your own
it's
light.
it's yeah, it's very vulnerable. Like, because I believe in like God suffers with us, you know, and then when you
Yeah.
actually admit to that, you know, and you admit to your own suffering, you admit to your own shortcomings, then you're closer to God. Like you're closer to God.
Do you read in your routine? Is that in your routine?
Yeah, right now I'm working on Man's Search for Meaning again.
Okay, who's that by?
Viktor Frankl, he's the Holocaust survivor
Oh,
who developed logotherapy.
logotherapy.
Yeah, which is I forget what his interpretation of what logo is, but it's like it's like meaning based, purpose based existential therapy.
Okay, let me Jamie pull that up moment right now.
No, Viktor Frankl's one of the he's amazing. I think he changed
A form of existential therapy developed by neurologist Viktor Frankl, founded on the premise that the primary motivational force of individuals is to find meaning.
Yeah. So good. I love him so much.
It's search.
Yeah, it's the he has an amazing thing that just kind of solved a lot of my identity crisis, is talking about like self-actualization is not the goal. Like when you set a goal, you know, on the path you are going to be actualized. You know, you don't need to worry about making yourself. Like, you know, you are you. You know, it's unfolding.
That's great.
And there's this
That's
great,
great
you know,
stuff.
there's this great Stoic thing with, you know, it's this like a dude, he's a sculptor and he's hammering the rest of himself out. And it says, you know, you don't find yourself, you make yourself. I do think that's true. I think you make yourself in your choices.
In your actions.
Yeah, in your actions, your character, like your
whether you are
the way you decide to respond
in accordance with nature or not.
Yeah, not even that, but it's just that too, and but also like
to be in accordance with nature is to be in accordance with your fellow man, the whole
God,
the universe,
yeah.
God. You know.
Yeah, and I think you don't you make yourself, but you don't have to worry about making yourself at the same time because you're already like being made.
Right, you are a part of the whole.
Yeah, and so I think
innately. Yeah,
just walking the path and finding your purpose in your life of just and living your purpose out. It's like that's where you're gonna find yourself. You know, you're not gonna. It's not like where do I need to go and what do I? It's just like walk the path, do the thing.
So what's been the hardest part of Monktober?
Not jacking off, like by a large margin. That's it.
Real. But you're not saying Queen.
Dude,
Monktober got my nuts feeling heavy.
Heavy. Down to my ankles, bro. No, the most fucked up thing about not jerking off for an extended period of time is that you start to really be conscious of exactly when the urges start to come.
Right.
It's bad. Like what triggers you to want to jerk off is bad.
Well, and so for me, this is the easiest nofap I've ever been on in my life, and it's because there's no social media. So cutting out social media has made me realize, like, I don't have anxiety hardly anymore. Like, I'm not like spinning when I go to sleep or in the shower. My thoughts aren't like I'm not having a million thoughts, because when you look at social media all day, like, it might be mindless, but your subconscious's job is to file things and sort through them. And when does it do that? Right before you go to sleep. So when you have all these fucking memes and all this shit in your head, it's gonna fuck up your sleep. And so you don't really clock it, but like everything you see on Instagram, the fucking meme page OnlyFans ads, that shit gets in your head.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then 30 minutes later when your brain files it, it's like, I'm horny. And so getting rid of that distraction, it's actually really easy to not play with your worm.
No, literally. Well, also, like, it's like, oh, I see a pretty person, or I fucking see some Instagram ad or whatever, and that triggers me. Oh, now I want to jerk off to that. It's not only that, but it's like you're stressed. You're emotionally dysregulated. You get angry for a second. You start thinking about a scary thought, and then suddenly sexual thoughts start coming
like
in.
a fear. It's like a roller coaster of fear and joy over and over again. And when you're dysregulated, your brain's like, oh, just jerk off. Like,
yeah. No, and I'll literally find myself in situations where I'm having moments of like genuine innocent, like awe of something, and the thing of jerking off comes into my brain, and I'm like, this thing is literally like this weird, fucked up. It's almost like an entity.
You know that meme where it's like, it's like, this fucking sucks. I'd rather be at home in my room
Jerking off.
The Monktober opposite is when you're having sex with a woman and you're like, this fucking sucks. I'd rather be at home eating my Monktober rice.
Yeah, eating my rice and reading my
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, man. It's true.
The daily Monktober sermons have been.
Oh, that's been fun. I've been sending my. I've been reading all of
read everything I've sent.
I've been reading all of them.
Okay, cool. Because I really like. I really share the ones that I think like we can share together more.
Yeah.
You know, I read every day, so I'm reading Marcus Aurelius Meditations, so I send a couple passages to Matti. The based ones.
It's good shit. The based ones, yeah. Because that's the thing is like I think, with my relationship to God, is very different than any tradition has ever been able to articulate. You know, and Marcus Aurelius to me is like a prophet. Like I however the fuck you define a prophet. Abraham Heschel, this Jewish civil rights activist, who marched with like King, defined a prophet. He's like, a prophet is someone who fully confronts the darkness of humanity and all the nastiness, with a 100% honesty and. Like, hey, what does he say? I can't remember how he words it, but he's like, a prophet holds both the absolute brutal honesty and complete unwavering hope. And that's what a prophet is. And to me, that, like, when I read meditations or, it's just very, like, there's no delusion there. There's no... It's a completely raw look at human experience. It's bare. It's naked. It's not. It's not.
Book.
Yeah, it's not diluted in any sense, and yet there is still this unwavering hope and optimism and affirmation of being. It's fucking awesome.
For those who don't know, meditations is basically just the journal entries over the course of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius's life. It's pretty much just his private journal entries.
And he was very important to my dad.
Really?
Oh, it's the Stoics. We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast of like how my dad was really into the Stoic philosophers after we left the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
And damn,
All right. Well, is it all right if I get in my routine?
Please. Yeah, let's hear it. Let's lay it on me.
So, man, my routine has been like, it's been like by the hour.
Damn!
Dude, I'm like
damn
by the hour. Like I'm just functioning on pure like ADHD, like levels of fucking like just organizational skill. Like I'm doing shit that I would never do because of the no social media. And when I'm not doing anything, I'm like, well, I guess I'll like do laundry or like because what else? I'm like, And then now it's become rewarding, and I don't have the urge to eat and watch YouTube. I either eat and read, or I just sit there and eat, and it's actually nice. But
eating without YouTube is like next level spirituality.
Well, I just eat now. It's just crazy. I just eat. Anyways, let a man eat.
Yeah.
I wake up at 7, and like I said, I fast, so I eat only between the hours of 11 and 8. So I wake up at 7, and I'm not allowed to eat for 4 hours. I wake up. I usually get right out of bed, brush my teeth. I try to be out of bed within 5 minutes.
Nice.
Max. So I wake up, don't look at my phone, brush my teeth. Then I go outside, and I get my Andrew Huberman direct photons of sunlight into my eyes. Which I hate.
Andrew Huberman says to stare directly at the sun every morning for 15 minutes.
I hate to say it, but like it really does regulate your cortisol. Like when your brain doesn't know what time of day, like because you get your cortisol boost in the morning.
Yeah.
So if you don't get that sun in the morning, it's gonna give it to you like in the afternoon when you're working, and then you start shaking.
Yeah.
I don't drink caffeine anyways. I did have a couple cups of coffee in Seattle, but I made sure it was at least an hour and a half after I'd woken up. So I get my sunlight, I put my bare feet in the grass, and I do some of that like Andrew Huberman breathing, the double breaths,
Mm.
Those regulate your cortisol. So I do some of those.
Mm.
Right? I hit my 10 reps. I do some like postural resetting, a little bit of stretching, walk around, feet in the dirt,
Oh, I
grounding.
stretch. I forgot to mention that. I do that every morning now.
I go over. I do my Chinese tapping.
What? What?
So do you want to like hold my mic while I
Yeah,
show?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Chinese tapping.
So, yeah, I don't know how to else to. So what I'm doing is I'm tapping. I tap the crown chakra 9 times. I tap here 9 times, here 9 times. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 4 times, and then I go all around my whole body. Other side of my arms, in the elbows. Then I get under there for the lung health. And this cupping is something that the Chinese have done for years to move energy. And really, the main thing that it focuses on is your qi. So this is like a qi cleanse that I do in the morning. Then I do the rubbing. Imagine the golden light on the back of my head, in the middle of my thumb and index finger. Then I mash my fingers together like this. Good to clear the energy in the spine. Then I get my knees, top and side, other side, top and side, and I do my chi cleanse, and then I do a little 5-minute kind of just like in my body meditation, practice mindfulness, practice gratefulness, set myself up, and then I usually try to pray. I try to pray at this altar. My prayer when it first started out was complex, and it took about 10 minutes, and then I read in Marcus Aurelius's book like prayer should be simple and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I go, I pray for this person to find peace. I pray for this. I pray for that. It takes like, I don't know, maybe a minute, because you want to leave it poignant but open-ended, to let 6 feet for the Holy Spirit, leave 6 inches for 10 inches for the Holy Spirit or whatever. School dance. So
10 inches of the Holy Spirit.
10 inches of the Holy Spirit fucking up in my stomach. Anyways, clip.
Yeah, that's good.
Clip. We're back, dude. I haven't said clip in a while. Then I get to work. So I do my first bit of work in a fasted state, which you can get clarity in a fasted state, or after you get a glucose boost from eating. So, my first is the fasted state. This is around 8. And, I wash my face and all that. I go in and I make an ambient track. The ambient track has to be done by 11. And I'm not allowed to even listen to it again after 11.
Oh.
Which is like a great exercise in being creative and then letting go, right, of whatever I've just done. So I could really like it and want to listen to it, but I'm not allowing myself to. And then... and it also makes me work on a time crunch, and it makes me be open to all possibilities. So it can be good or shit. And at the end of the month, I'm going to have around 20 to 30 of these tracks, and I'm going to pick the 10 best and release an ambient album. And so at the end of the month, I'll be able to look through all of them. And it's going really, really well. And I'm really into ambient music, so I've gotten kind of good at it. I think. I don't know. I will see at the end of the month what's really usable. 10 songs are going to come out regardless whether they suck or not.
Nice.
It's going to be under the name Monk with a 0.
Nice.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that room that we created, and Zach Montana fans and now Monk fans, if you're looking for something to fall asleep to or passively walk to, it's pretty cool. So then I get that done by 11. Now I'm allowed to eat. So I have celery juice. The first thing I put in my stomach is celery juice for the gut clearing and anti-inflammatory properties. Usually, I haven't been the best, but until I went to Seattle, it was every day. So I drink that. Then after I drink that, I have like a smoothie with like supplements and lion's mane and collagen and a little protein powder. And I have that with like a yogurt, because I got to get the fermented food in, and the yogurt, Greek yogurt, honey. So my diet pretty much consists of like organic meat, cheese, fish, eggs, butter, like rice, and some salad. That's pretty much all I can eat.
A liter of salad a day.
I have my omelet, and then I get ready and I go to the gym. I'm at the gym usually from like 12:30 to 1:32. Then I come home. I might eat my Monktober rice, and then after that I do my second bout of work, which will be on my main. I think the camera, you're blocking the.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a different camera angle.
Oh yeah.
So then I do my Monktober rice and maybe a lean protein. Depends on if I'm gonna sing or not. Whether I eat like dairy or something fat. Then I get more work done on my album. Then when I'm done with that bout of work, I do my yoga nidra, which is my second meditation of the day, and it's my deep NSDR meditation.
Nice.
And I cannot tell you how much this has improved my sleep. After my yoga nidra, I like to do it right before sunset. So then if I'm feeling all right, I'll go on a walk. I think I'm gonna start taking my walks in the morning now.
Nice.
But then
blood flowing.
I've kind of haven't been great with this, but I've been doing a bit of cold exposure at that time. And then I eat and watch my one episode of TV, and then I shower and read until it's time to go to bed at around 10. And then I wake up and I do that pretty much exactly the same over again. And I've done that every day. And it's actually been fucking awesome because I haven't had anyone on social media telling me that it's stupid or comparing myself to anyone else who's like out like sinning or whatever. You know? I'm like, dude, I'm fucking feeling great. Like the yoga nidra, I've been clearing so much trauma, which if y'all don't know yoga nidra, like I do a journey through the chakras one, and I'm clearing my energy blockages and my chakras throughout my body because I believe in that sort of Eastern energy flow through the body.
I definitely do in terms of like the Chinese translation of that. It makes a lot of sense to me with like heavenly and earthly chi.
Yeah, and it feels great. And when you're in yoga nidra, so it's like right on that plane where you're about to fall asleep, but you don't. I've fallen asleep a couple times doing it. But like when you're in that subconscious realm and you're then focusing yourself, it allows you to like, heal the parts of your subconscious mind that like, that hold that trauma in your body and stuff. It allows you in that dream state to work through emotions on a deeper physiological and central nervous system level, and clear that from you and relax the subconscious even, and it can be compared, I'd say it's comparative to hypnosis.
Oh yeah. It's definitely very hypnotic.
Yeah. It's basically a form of hypnosis, but it works great. And anybody interested, I think I do one from, what's her name?
Allie?
No, I do. What's her friggin' name? I have. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Okay, I think it's Kamini Desai, A Journey Through the Chakras. Look it up on YouTube. It's a good guided meditation. But that, in a nutshell, is my Monktober routine. And then I do another like 5-minute in my body meditation while I'm in the shower. So
nice,
like
bro.
meditating 3 times a day, eating rice, and thinking about not beating my cock.
Nice, bro. You know what I've been doing? I've been doing an exercise where I try to, in my mind's eye, visualize what I'm physically seeing.
Wait, say that? Say it again?
So, like,
elaborate.
There's always images flowing through my head all the fucking time. Whether it's song ideas or shit about music or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, presence, like, is like, I'm looking at this guitar. I try to have the background of my thoughts also be of the guitar. Being just fully immersed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In
the present moment.
Yeah. Like, just like, so
I
am literally here.
Like, I'm looking at that bag, but I'm also thinking about not jerking off.
Yeah. Or like, I'm looking at that, that's evoking thoughts, but like, be here and see it.
Yeah, don't follow the rabbit hole of thoughts that it evokes.
Exactly.
Necessarily. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think the most rewarding part has been the waking up and being creative immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially on, like, because then, worst comes to worst, if nothing works out on my other shit during the day, I get to 11 o'clock and I'm like, well, fuck, I've already made an entire ambient track and I haven't even fucking eaten breakfast yet. So I feel very accomplished and it gets me in the workflow and I get a lot more done.
Yeah.
The hardest thing has definitely been the no gluten.
Oh.
It's just like everything has gluten.
Yeah. I was gluten free for like a year when I was younger, and it's so hard. Like even
It's
soy sauce.
yeah, that fucked me. That broke my thing in a while back in a different month because I didn't know. I thought I was gluten free for like 3-4 weeks. Turns out I hadn't been gluten free at all because the spice packet and one of the things of rice I was eating had wheat flour in it.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I can't eat anything. It's
Pretty
like
crazy.
buttered rice and salmon. But it feels good. Oh, and I've been drinking milk. I've been literally. I've been drinking milk. It's like really good for the gut membrane. But I had this ulcer in the back of my throat that was so fucking bad, and the milk was helping so much. And I sent Maddie this. I did a yoga nidra, and I got all in my shit, and I wrote a thing. I wrote a sermon about the ulcer in the back of my throat. Did you read that? What I sent when I sent it to you?
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, I did. You should read it.
Okay. All right. I'm pulling it up as we speak. I'm like sifting through some of our convos. Okay. It's a really like it's like so weirdly deep just to have been talking about an ulcer.
Yeah.
As long as I walk the path of God, I have no pain. Why do you check the sore in your throat every few hours? To monitor it and make sure it is not getting worse. But if you are walking the path of God, you know this sore will heal. So what is it to you to gain knowledge of that which you do not control? If you know it will heal, then this does nothing but feed the flames of anxiety. It will have not changed in any major way by then anyways. It is just the illusion of control that drives men to stray from the path of God. So gargle your salt water and trust in a higher power. Know that as you are walking the path of God, it does not hurt to swallow.
That's good shit.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, dude.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, I think that pretty much covers most
That wraps up
of
Monktober.
Monktober.
Most of Monktober.
Which that took. How much of that time did that take up? That took about 37 minutes.
Well, you know what's crazy is like I don't know if I'm gonna stop necessarily doing Monktober.
I'm not either. Like I'm just gonna be able. I'm gonna be able to check social media.
I'm
but
gonna drink again.
I'm not gonna be on social media like that. I'm gonna check it like maybe once or twice a day. Same with the dating apps.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on dating apps, but I'm gonna like scroll once a day and then only use it to text people.
Yeah.
Because it sucks and I don't get anything done.
No, I think. Yeah.
Full dopamine reset. In Seattle, I didn't even get my hour of screen time a day, like the iPad kid. I just like straight raw dogged it in my free time. All I did was read.
Mm-hmm.
Read like 4 hours one day.
That's amazing. I've been getting really into Quakerism.
Yeah, talk
Very
about the
recently.
Quakers.
So I freaking love these guys. So okay, I had a bit of an existential breakdown again at the beginning of this year. Nothing extreme or like life.
Every time we come back to the room that we created, it's
some crazy shit. Yeah, but nothing like to where I was acting manic or in any destructive way whatsoever. I just there was a severe lack
Napoleon,
of
the Golden Buddha.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. But it was very. There was a meaning that was seriously missing, and that my current spiritual convictions just weren't up to snuff. Like in as far as confronting what I was facing in my brain and in my past, and I had started basically like crying every day. And I would wake up and I would start crying, and I would, and I got through my days somehow, my therapist was like super helpful for that. But basically I just felt like I needed something more. Like I really needed something more. And, so I started going to a synagogue, and this is where I met this older woman named Anne.
Anne.
who's in her late 70s, and she can't drive at night. So I went there for the first time and I met a couple people and I was like, this is really cool, you know. And the first person I had spoken to was Anne, and I had talked to her a little bit about my Jehovah's Witness upbringing, and she just kind of, you know, she was very intently listening, and she was talking about her poetry, and, you know, very humbly just talking about how she does poetry and she's a sculptor. And all that was really cool. And then she was like, yeah, I need a ride next week because it just kind of came up naturally. And I told her, I was like, well, I live near in Cottonwood because we both live in Maynardville. I forgot. I forgot. We never said it.
Great, now I gotta.
We've never said it.
Bleep it out.
Oh my
Now
god.
I gotta actually edit this. I wasn't gonna edit any of these ever again, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, if we go back to the podcast, like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no,
anymore
fully
because
understandable.
it sucked anyways.
Yeah, it was always like, unless we do another like artsy one, like 14 point whatever.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just gonna slap a EQ and compressor on this, and then
we're good. No, but so anyway, we live near each other, so I was like, I'll give you a ride next week, and next week turned into every single day for the last 6 months. I've been or every single week for the last 6 months, I've been driving and to the synagogue, and getting really into rabbinic literature and thought on God has like really, really, really healed my relationship with the idea of a deity and the idea of creation and the idea of, you know, there being like love and all these questions about the problem of evil and all, you know, whatever, like theological questions. They just, none of that matters, you know, when you're in the presence, you know, when you feel it. I started to feel it again. You know, like I did when I was a kid, you know, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I started to feel God. And
this time on your own terms.
Yeah, on my own terms. Yeah, absolutely. And in a way that I actually understood. It felt really real and made sense to me. And Anne, getting to know her and her thoughts on God and you know, her life story is also bananas. She marched with Martin Luther King, and she was telling me this story, and we were both talking about conspiracy theories and how, you know, the CIA killed JFK, and she was like, "Well, I remember when JFK died and what Martin Luther King had said about that and this and that and whatever." And I was like, I don't remember hearing. Yeah, I don't think I've heard this before. She's like, "No, he said it to me." I was like, "What?" And she knew Martin Luther King. She marched with him and like spoke to him in Chicago. And she
so cool.
Yeah, and she was just telling me the story about her in the Peace Corps during the Vietnam War and you know, meeting all these authors. Her uncle was really good friends with Jim Jones, the guy who made people drink the Kool-Aid and die.
Oh my God.
Her uncle was friends with Jim Jones, and she was baptized by Jim Jones before he had split off and done his own thing. So she's like Forrest Gump. And like I've been to her house a couple times, you know, and I'm helping her write.
She's like Forrest Gump.
It's crazy, and she has all the stuff to back this up. It's not like Big Fish where she's like telling stories. Like I've seen photos of young Anne with Martin Luther King. It's nuts.
Wow.
And right now I'm helping her finish her memoir and compile her poetry and stuff like that. And you know, in Judaism and in, you know, like attending the synagogue had brought me a deeper connection to God, which had expanded my horizons theologically, you know, and has made me just more open to belief again. And I don't think I have the answers, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely wouldn't call myself a Jew, you know, but it led me back into Bible study, and which has slingshotted me over to, you know, all kinds of weird Western esoteric thought, and through the lens of what I understand about Taoism, which was what I was really into before.
Right.
And also just like contextualizing and trying to make sense of certain deeply meaningful, almost paranormal experiences I've had. You know, because I've had a lot of weird experiences in my life. That is my like intuition to attribute to something supernatural. You know, and it's nothing I can ever convince anybody of, and it's nothing I can ever. You know, I think my relationship with God and the way what I think about theology and stuff is extremely personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading the New Testament again.
Oh,
You know, a lot,
okay.
and understanding that now, having understood the full context, you know, of the Old Testament and different ways of reading the Old Testament and different, you know, because the thing about Rabbinic Judaism that's really cool is that it's a relationship with God. Like, you know, God, it's a relationship, and there's multiple answers to the same questions.
When you say rabbinic, do you mean like Reformed?
Like rabbi, the mystical elements of Judaism, like Kabbalah and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
And you know, it's a relationship and it's a communication, and it's okay to disagree, you know, and once that now rereading the Bible through that text, you know, through that lens,
I've never even read the Bible.
it's good. It's got there's cool shit.
I remember on my birthday one year, I think, or around, or maybe it was Christmas. And I had never read the Bible, and it was me, you, and Asa. And I have a voice note of like me trying to explain the Bible as
someone who just has only heard it from other people.
Yeah, and so it was so fucked. It was so fucked.
We should do that. We should do that.
Well, I already did it, and it was like a game of telephone. Like, you guys told me a story, and then I like retold the story in stupid terms to make it make sense in my brain.
Right.
And I it was all recorded, and it's like 50 minutes long, and it's in my phone.
Funny.
It's so funny.
I remember you saying like what you think, like because your interpretation of like what Noah's Ark
and
is.
then this guy gets on a boat, and it was like
it's so funny. Yeah,
it was like imagine Jerry Seinfeld doing stand up explaining the Bible.
Yeah.
Is like in the same ballpark.
That's so funny.
Can I just say how good this feels?
I know. I miss it so much.
This is crazy.
This is really.
And I feel like I'm 20 again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Because it was that long ago that we were different ages.
Yeah. Wow. I'm 22 now.
Jeez, bro.
We started this when I was about to turn 21. Now I just turned 22. And the arc of me going to Seattle, and there was some karmic stuff, and now I'm back, and we're doing this, and it feels like we jumped back in time. It's almost like all that time I felt like maybe I missed for health or whatever reasons. It's like, oh, it's over. It's like, I'm doing good. We're Monktober. Like, I just got back from Washington. I loved it. Like, and we're doing the pod again. It's like, close the fucking book chapter, baby. Like, we're so back.
We are so back. And dude, that's what I feel like. Just finishing my little blurb about that and going to the synagogue and my experience is like, the first couple months I was there, I was really trying to listen and learn, you know. But I realized that, and like I treat these traditions like I want to have like the utmost respect for all, you know, this stuff, but at the same time, like I said at the beginning of it, like I don't think there's a tradition that fully encapsulates what I think is true about God, you know, not in Judaism, definitely not in Christianity. But I do think that I have a personal connection, you know, to God that is starting to make sense to me and has changed the way I approach the concept of revelation and inspiration. And rereading the Bible through the lens of, you know, this is an old book about the history of one culture's interactions with God, you know, and it reintroduced me to Jesus, and it reintroduced me to the spirit of Christness.
The Christ-like energy.
Yeah, and how far we've gotten really from what the absolute distillation and base level teachings are. Of love your neighbor.
Level teaching.
Yeah, the base level teachings.
Marcus Aurelius. Aurelius.
Yeah. No, like and so yeah, I felt so much closer to God. I felt so much closer to God now that I've just kind of like accepted help where I can get it. Not barring myself off from any traditions, but also not trying to lie to myself that, oh, I just got to keep looking and eventually I'll find something that really says what I'm like. You're not,
Yeah, you just gotta take from different bags and whatnot.
Yeah, and then not even different bags. It's like I'm not a complete pluralist where I think that like
Pluralist. I never heard that term.
which is like everybody's saying the same thing. It's like, well, all these religions are really all saying the same thing when you get to the heart of it. It's like, well,
Not really.
Not really. So they are different, and you're kind of being like disrespectful to the traditions if you just kind of like distill them all and whatever, because it's like there's a difference between them, and there's people in those traditions that wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have respect for these traditions, but at the same time, I have my position in it, and I'm not going to not use the Bible. I'm not going to not read it. It's a part of our fucking history as a species. It's extremely important. And in reading it, I've started to really develop my relationship with God. And because, like reading the Gospels, for example, like every Gospel tells the same story, but there's radically conflicting, things in like how they transpire, and they're in complete disharmony. And you go from one extreme, being raised JW, where it's like, okay, part of Bible study is trying to harmonize the Gospels. How can this make sense that all these things simultaneously happened? And then you just have to, like, you break your brain doing mental gymnastics trying to harmonize the Gospels when they're just out of harmony. That's what they're not. They don't make sense. And then you go from the other extreme where you're just like, okay, well, this book is bullshit. None of this makes sense. It's just some old fuckheads who didn't even know what a germ was trying to figure out this thing, and they're all confused.
I didn't even know what a germ was.
Like,
That's such a unique insult.
It's true.
Fuck you. You don't even know what a fucking bacterium is.
No, it's true. It was like,
Fucking
and then
an amoeba.
yeah, and so you go on Reddit atheism, like on that train.
r/nofap.
r/atheism pilled,
nofap
like Sam Harris
stoicism.
destroys fucking this person's faith. Like it's like, oh yeah, and so I was on that for a long time, where I was just like, it makes no sense. And then it's like, wait a minute, like every once in a while, it's like you're trying to drown this fucking thing that's real, like, and there's just because it's wearing like deconstruction to me has been more pulling the thread. I heard this analogy from someone, I can't remember, but like pulling the thread on this shitty sweater that somebody put on Jesus,
Oh, wow.
and it's like, it's not the thing, like all of the and it never
That's really
was
good. That's prolific.
like it never was the thing, like the Bible being absolute, like you can either believe that the Bible has no inherent worth or that it has complete inherent worth, those two extremes. Like people who believe in biblical inerrancy, like the whole Bible's the word of God, when it does contradict itself. It absolutely fucking does.
And I was staying with my friend Mikey in Seattle. I was telling him, like, there's like believing in God and the path of God and walking in the light, and that's what we're trying to do. And then there's people who like claim that, but they're not really. They don't believe in God. What they believe in is fear.
Yeah.
What they believe in is fear, and it's the fear really of the idea of death, which when you break it down it's either the idea or the fear of loss of consciousness or the fear of consciousness taking a new form. And so either way you slice it, if consciousness takes a new form, then consciousness takes a new form and life doesn't cease to exist for you anymore. Like, it's just, life goes on then, is what that means, past quote unquote human body death.
Yeah.
And two, if you do lose if we do lose our consciousness and we die, it's like, well, then it doesn't, nothing. There's nothing to be afraid of because there is nothing then.
Yeah, that's very like Socrates said it. Like, it's like either I'm gonna go into a deep, deep sleep, and I love deep sleep, or I'm gonna get to keep thinking about interesting things.
Yeah.
And I do have a view on the afterlife. It's not fleshed out, but I do believe in life after death, and I do believe in God, and I do believe that God has a relationship with human beings, and I believe that in the story in the Bible that is so profound and compelling that we get wrong all the time, and throughout the Bible, there like you find the sins of human beings in the Bible. That's a part of it. Like we are imperfect. We stray from the path all the time. Why the fuck would you think that this book wouldn't be an example of that in and of itself? You know what I mean? Like the book that introduces the ideas, the very ideas that we use to judge the book, come from the book. You know what I mean? Like it's the Bible to me is human beings just coping with these revelations, about themselves and about evil and about, where we go when we die and about love and about faith, and it's us writing it down, and these mystical teachings that are, in the white, between the letters of the Bible, like that's God, and underneath it is I don't know. I think the Bible is humanity, and if you read the Bible with a mystical lens and you read the Bible understanding that it was written by humans and understand the cultural context of it, all the grimy stuff starts to make sense why it's there. You go, okay, yeah, I get why someone would think that, and it doesn't mean we have to keep thinking that. And I think that's what the prophets, like the Hebrew prophets and Jesus, are really, the shining example of that is like, look, none of this matters unless you're feeding the poor, unless you're helping, clothing the naked and stuff like that. Like all these rituals, all these rites, it doesn't mean shit, and God's not listening unless you're loving.
Yeah, and I can feel that now that I'm listening. I can feel the love from myself internally. I have an interesting theory about the afterlife too. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So, think about how much matter, how much mass has been transformed on this planet. Think about how many people have fucking died, and not just people, how many creatures, bugs, animals, plants have fucking died on this planet, and yet there's not a fucking giant 100 million foot tall skyscraper of dead shit that goes to the moon.
Yeah.
And think about how much shit has died. What happens is it goes into the earth and then it changes form. I mean, we can leave our tombstones or whatever, but it goes into the earth, there's the body and there's the skeleton, and then eventually it goes away. It becomes the dirt that makes room for more skeletons. It's like the earth isn't going to fill up with skeletons. Same way, how much, when you eat meat, it goes, you're eating this thing, this mass, this ball of fucking organism, and you put it in you, and then it gets converted into flesh and blood and bone. And it's like, you're not going to fill up with meat, but your body makes room for new meat, and it sits there for a while, and then till it goes away. So I think if there were an afterlife, I would think that it would function in the same way. And by that I mean when your soul leaves the body that it's hosting, it's being hosted in, there's a period of time where it is out in that atmosphere, and that would explain the sort of kind of paranormal ghost things that we can sometimes feel after someone passed, like that experience that you had with your dad and the cars thing. It's like, and then eventually you will dissipate to make room for all the new souls that are dying. So if there were an afterlife that was semi-conscious, I would imagine it works the same way. That like it's banded together for a while until it metaphorically gets digested and broken apart, and then then it ceases to exist. But for a while after you leave, you're kind of there, and then you slowly fade away, to make room for new souls. I think that I kind of liked that idea.
I like that a lot. I do like that. I think that we continue on, obviously in a more mysterious way, but I think we continue on forever.
Well,
like I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, who gives a fuck? Because I won't be around,
If we continue on forever, do you think we'd find each other again?
Yeah.
If we wanted to?
Oh, 100%. We will.
So, that's really cool, because I think so too. But there's
I believe in hell. I believe in absolutely hell. I think we all go to hell.
All right.
No. No, I do. I think there's
I want to share one thing really quick. When I was in Seattle and I pulled up at Mikey's house, the first thing on the wall is a giant Tool poster, and I'm like, I cannot get away. And then I looked and then in between the Tool poster and the window, there's a TV, and then in the windowsill, there's a Jesus candle. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude. This is, like, meant to be, dude. It's, like, Monktober. It's come with me. Yeah. And so when I would wake up and do my prayer in Seattle, I did it in front of the Jesus candle.
Yeah.
But now I'm realizing I also just did it in front of the Tool poster.
That's
so it could be either
funny.
or, depending on your prerogative. How Tool fans are, bro.
That's a religion, bro. That is a religion.
Recite the Fibonacci sequence.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, to me, okay, like my idea on the afterlife is this. The design of the cosmos, to me, is enough evidence that there's intelligence behind all of it. Now, I think that intelligence has qualities based on my interactions with that being. Because in the moments of the highest joy in my life and the deepest grief, I feel that presence, and I don't feel it in a way where I'm one with everything, where I'm the drop that goes back to the ocean. It's not a disillusion. I've always felt an embrace, that there is an essence of me that is separate from the infinite. And that separation is not some illusion. And it's also not some fall. Like it's
Hey,
we're back.
The Mac died, but it's saved. So that's...
I'm not gonna finish what I was saying.
I don't even remember at this point. It's so
it was something about
long
Jesus.
gone now. But anyways, I think that's maybe God telling us you're done. So
you're done.
This has been
The Room That We Created.
Thank you.
Welcome back, folks.
Thank you for your continued support. And there's going to be more of these coming because I just enjoyed myself.
We need it.
So
we need
much,
it.
And I need it personally. I love you, brother.
I love you. I love you, monk.
My sister, my monk.
My monk in Christ.
Keep monking out.
Keep monking out, dog.
Keep monking out, guys.
Monk out.
Peace out.